This is Josh Bycer from GameWisdom.com. I hope you enjoyed this Critical Thought, your daily discussion on game design. Hello and welcome to today's Critical Thought. Before we begin, we are at 847 subscribers here on the YouTube channel. Thank you so much for subscribing, and I hope you're enjoying the content. We are very close to 850 subscribers. For those of you who haven't voted yet, for the 800 subscriber Let's Play, we have a two-way tie between the Hitman 2016 Let's Play and a look back at the classic casual games of PopCap Software. Right now we're in sudden death rule, so the first vote for either one will take it. If you missed my question yesterday, I want to get your thoughts on putting these critical thoughts and even the Perceptive podcasts on another audio channel, such as I think it was SoundCloud. Let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Alright, today's critical thought, as promised from yesterday, is on the subject of gamification. I'm kind of waiting for like a lightning strike, like in those old public service videos when someone mentions communism. Gamification, depending upon who you talk to, could be the greatest thing ever, could be quackery from like the days of before the FDA, or you just couldn't care less about. When it comes to the topic of gamification, this is one of those things we could spend a lot of time on, or very little. It's kind of an interesting kind of philosophy. It was the buzzword of about maybe like 3-4 years ago, thereabout, before the Vive, the Oculus Rift, and sort of VR taking over. But I guess we should begin with the definition. Gamification, it may be a little bit hard to explain, but I'll see what I can do. It is the concept of applying game mechanics and progression to help motivate us in our daily lives. I know that made perfect sense. I'm sure no one has any questions. But what it essentially is a way of using what game designers have done to motivate people to play video games, get them to progress, and try to apply that practically in our day-to-day life. Before anyone says it, unfortunately, it doesn't mean using Dark Souls as a means of making our lives better. It would be awesome, but no. Again, this is one of those things that it's kind of really hard to explain in a sense. What we're talking about is motivating someone using the very same mechanics that we use to get someone to play an MMO, or a free-to-play game, or even any one of the many games I have on Steam. It's probably easier to talk about examples, and that should give you an idea. One idea, or one kind of concept I heard about was, let's say we have a fitness app, and the app takes in the form of you creating a character for an RPG quest. And every time you do exercise, whether it's running, weightlifting, push-up, sit-up, you name it, it adds experience to your character. And then when your character's leveled up enough, you go on a quest, and if you win, you unlock like an achievement in the game, and then you get the next quest, which requires more experience, aka more exercise. Or imagine if a school, instead of teaching in like the normal lesson structure, it gives students quests that are in the form of learning different topics, different things. And then when when the student completes enough quests, they are given a challenge in the form of an actual test on that knowledge. If they pass it, they level up to the next set of quests or next set of lessons. Now, that's more of the overt examples of gamification. We can even talk about some, hidden examples. And if we really stretch the term gamification, it's been going on way before even video games were around. The idea of membership cards that give you points, or things that you can trade in like frequent flyer miles, or your points on a credit card. This will be another example of this kind of gamification. You're earning stuff that can be applied to giving yourself a reward or a little bonus. And gamification has really, I guess, grown from that. Again, depending upon who you talk to, you could be hearing examples of gamification day to day, or this may literally be the first time you're hearing of this. For myself, I'm not a big proponent of gamification. You would think, as someone who eats, sleeps, drinks, dreams, hallucinates game design, that I would be falling in love with this idea of taking game mechanics and applying it to day-to-day life. But for me, I just don't see the application. I think it could be my realist slash pessimist self coming through. But for me, the idea of being motivated by achievements and medals and anything else you can think of for something that I'm not already interested in doesn't work for me. But I am fully willing to admit that I am nuts and I could be the exception to this rule. But for me, I just don't see like the idea of, let's say, applying points to me cleaning up my room or unlocking achievements if I go out and talk to 5 people a day to try to make myself more sociable. I don't see that working for me unless I already want to do it to begin with. For instance, I don't think gamification is going to turn me into a master programmer or make me into the ultimate actor or convince me that, working a 9 to 5 retail job to be the greatest thing in the world. For a lot of people, I think this also depends on their perception. I know people like my mother who loves all like the membership cards, the points, the discounts, stuff like that. And I know people who just don't give a crap about that stuff. And I do wonder if that is kind of where that dividing line of gamification comes from. As a quick example, a lot of the supermarkets, I know McDonald's loves their annual Monopoly game, where they, have little stickers on the products, and you fill up your board, and if you get a Monopoly, you win lots of money. Again, that would be sort of an example of gamification. But for me, I just don't find that stuff appealing. And it does raise questions about just how useful gamification is. Like I said, for people watching this, some of you right now may be ready to write a very lengthy comment about how I'm wrong, and others of you may completely agree with me. It's one of those challenges because it sounds like something that should be amazing and we should do more of, especially in the education sector. Figuring out better ways to motivate students to learn, to get kids to study more, sounds like it should be an amazing thing. But there are a lot of obstacles in the way. We talked about this on a Perceptive podcast, I want to say 2 years ago, but my memory is fading me, I think, on that front. We talked about the challenges of getting video games into the classroom, and we don't have time to talk about that today. But for just a quick touch on it, part of the problem with education is the concept of the Common Core. It's the basic elements that every public school or every school must teach to their students. And I can quickly pull that up because I wasn't thinking about that until we started talking. When we talk about the Common Core, I'm going to quickly pull this up again. I'm going to look away from the camera. It is the fact that students need to know English language and mathematics at the end of each grade when we talk about K through 12. If a classroom doesn't teach the Common Core or these standards, then they're going to not only get in trouble, but it's going to not make them consider, an educational institution. Now, I know with that said, there are several schools, I think there's one in New York, that have been teaching in the form of gamification. Again, using mechanics and progression as a means of educating their students. I don't know how successful that is. I think it's been around for a few years now. Unfortunately, I don't remember it off the top of my head. Now, one thing to keep in mind, and it's actually an interesting aside, is another popular term, edutainment. Edutainment essentially means using video games to teach. This isn't the same as gamification, which is applying game mechanics to everyday life. This is literally designing a video game that also teaches math, or English, or lateral thinking. And that last one, if you're a gamer, you probably know a few examples off the top of your head. Edutainment is another critical thought waiting to happen, but it kind of works along lines of gamification. We're not just saying you're going to look at math problems. Let's say you're fighting robots, and the only way to defeat them is to, of course, solve a simple arithmetic problem or geometry. And there was actually a game like that. The Learning Company, in its heyday in the 90s, was the makers of some of the best edutainment titles. There's also the fantastic game, The Logical Journey of the Zumbinis. It doesn't sound all that impressive, but quite frankly, it's one of the best examples not only of edutainment, but of using game mechanics to teach children. And honestly, I should really dedicate a critical thought to that game because I grew up loving that title. Another example would be stuff like Professor Layton and those puzzle series. Even something along the lines of Brain Age for the DS could also be considered a slight form of gamification or edutainment. But we're going to wrap things up here. Again, this is a topic that if we start getting in depth about, we could be here for who knows how long. Also, for those of you watching this who are either proponents of gamification or who've used it or developed it on your own, I've been looking for a guest to talk to about the pros of gamification on the Perceptive Podcast. If you're interested in hanging out with myself and James for who knows how long, be sure to leave a comment below or send me an email, josh@game-wisdom.com, and we can talk more. But otherwise, we're going to wrap it up here. One last thing for those of you watching this today. If you haven't seen the news, the Clockwork Empire's Let's Play series should be going up by the time you're watching this. Be sure to check that out on the channel. Once again, thank you to 847 subscribers here on YouTube. So close to 850. Be sure to get your vote in for the 800 Let's Play. Like I said, the first vote to break the tie will do it. And you can vote on any of the Critical Thought videos. But otherwise, I'm going to end things here. Once again, I'm Josh Bycer from GameWisdom.com. Thanks for watching today's Critical Thought. Be sure to check out the Clockwork Empire's Let's Play. And I'll see you all tomorrow with more. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and of course share with your friends. It always helps out. For daily posts on all manner of game design and industry topics, check out game-wisdom.com. To support the site and everything that I do, be sure to check out the Patreon campaign. If we can hit goals, it will mean more content for everyone to enjoy, and I'll be able to support myself and my household. If you want to follow me, you can find me on Twitter at GWBycer for updates throughout the day and random thoughts from me. And lastly, you can find me on Twitch right over there at GWBycer for daily streams most nights around 10 Eastern. Thanks again for watching the video, and be sure to check out more great content coming to the Game Wisdom channel real soon.